Then what I call the second aspect extensively will mean all of the sentient beings that are existing within this visible domain. All the sentient beings existing on Earth, human beings, animals, and maybe beings similar to humans and animals that might be existing on other world systems that we can't see. And then what I call the vertical dimension of the domain of sentient beings would be the beings existing in other realms above and below this visible dimension. You know, the devas above, and below will be the realm of the petas and the hell realms. So those are sentient beings too. And so here we have the sentient domain encompassing the transcendent domain. Then the third domain is the broader encompassing, all-encompassing domain within which the dramas of human life and sentient life unfolds. This is what I've called the natural domain. Trying to find a Pali or Sanskrit word that captures that sense, I had to fall back on prakriti dhatu, even though there might not be a very exact correspondence. So this domain would include one's own body, considered purely in its physical or material aspect, and also as a part of the physical order. Then the, let's say, the global or terrestrial environment, the environment of the planet Earth. And then the third natural dimension of the natural domain is the cosmos as a whole, the physical cosmos.
What is number 2 on the sentient domain?
The word is extensively. Extensive means going outwards, broad, going outwards broadly. And I explain it just as the other living beings that share our planet, that share our world with us, other people and the animals. Okay, so now, and then coming to this diagram, I put the natural domain, maybe starting here, and coming down and encompassing the sentient domain, because all sentient life takes place within the natural domain. But then something occurred to me, that even though we seem to speak of ourselves as living, unfolding, developing within the natural, physical and material order, but everything is really unfolding within the domain of experience. And so I also have the sentient domain repeated as the outermost layer, with these broken lines encompassing everything, because everything occurs within the field of experience. So when Nibbana is realized, it's realized within experience. And the natural order, other sentient beings exist within our experience. And even nature, from one angle we could say that living beings gradually evolve within the natural order, but insofar as we know nature and interact with it at all, this occurs within the field of experience. So the experience of sentient beings is the all-encompassing, all-embracing envelope for the other dimensions or other domains. You know, maybe some are asking, quite an interesting metaphysic this guy is developing, but how does this relate to our work at Buddhist Global Relief? First, one sort of footnote I'll add, even though it seems like I'm explaining this as a metaphysic, I'm not doing this to develop a kind of objective philosophical system, but my whole purpose in devising this scheme is to work out a particular, well, systematization of elements of experience in order to serve as a kind of guideline for practice, for our participation in the spiritual life. And so this leads into the second, or at least one of the other questions that this organizer of that conference had asked us to consider, and that is, how do you see human spirituality or the sense of the sacred evolving in today's world? And this takes me a bit back to this distinction of the traditional modern and postmodern modes of understanding. In the traditional mode of understanding, the sacred, the holy, the transcendent is regarded as being essentially what is beyond the world, outside the world. And that is the sacred, that which is transcendent. And what is within the world is the mundane, the worldly. And our goal in spiritual striving is to move from the sentient domain in which we're living to the transcendent domain, and to leave behind the sentient domain. It's the realm of just birth and death, the realm of sin, the world, the flesh, and the devil. Or at least it's that particular realm where the world, the flesh, and the devil thrive. And so these domains are devalued, and ultimate value is placed on the transcendent domain. Of course, the quest for the transcendent will imply certain ethical values that are to be embodied within the sentient domain. But the sentient domain doesn't have, and the natural domain don't have ultimate value within themselves. The way I see contemporary, what I would call postmodern spirituality developing, at least my own understanding. Again, it might be an idiosyncratic feature of my own mind, but I think not, is that we're tending towards a mode of understanding which can ascribe sacred